So I feel like a giant idiot. I've already recorded this once this morning and realized that I had my there's a microphone button on my keyboard and I had it muted. So I'm getting caught up with you guys. Got lots of pieces of legislation that are starting to show up on the legisweb.y.us website, and I'll link that in the comments below. Lots of pieces of legislation. I think you guys should go check it out. This has to do with your everyday life. What we're looking at so far, I've got this Food Freedom Act amendments. We talked about this throughout the last couple months as far as what we're going to do with it. And the bill, for those of you that are familiar with legislation, this is several pages long. Why is that? And I'm not trying to scare you. It's because we're cleaning up language. We're just making it a little more streamlined. It was pretty wordy before. So we're going to clean up the language a little bit, make it make a little more sense. And we're also adding some types of products that you as a producer, you as a consumer can have or sell or buy, what have you. Specifically rabbits. We've talked about that in the past. We thought we were going to get that done via regulation. It didn't happen. And I get it. You know, let's put it into law. So we've specifically got that in the bill to ensure that you guys get the opportunity to sell domesticated rabbits if you want. In fact, there it is on page 5, the sale of domesticated rabbits. Rabbit meat, pardon me. So that way you can butcher it yourself. Why is that okay to do and we can't do beef and whatnot? Because once again, the federal government shows their ineptitude. You can't act. There's no regulations on the books for rabbits at the federal level. So we're going to put that in the bill, in the Wyoming Food Freedom Act, so that you can produce rabbits for your consumers, and that'll be great. Also, other piece of legislation I've got out there, I've got the taxable value of agricultural land amendments, and that adds a whole another class of individuals that own land that can be considered agriculture. And what we're looking at is those diversified egg producers. We're looking at your small acreage producers, 5 acres, that produce quite a bit, but can't be considered agriculture. Some of your assessors have considered you agriculture, though, in the past, just because they're good people and they understand that you're in agriculture. So this is just putting it into statute what some of them are already doing and providing the opportunity for others. I think that's a good deal. I've got a balanced budget amendment resolution. That one's pretty exciting, and that one's controversial. Everybody agrees that the federal government should have a balanced budget in place on them. We need some kind of fiscal restraints on those guys. But the argument is should we petition for an Article 5 Convention of States in regards to that? I say yes. That's my opinion. I've got 14 other co-sponsors on that piece of legislation, or 15 other, pardon me. So there's lots of people that think so also. It'll be great debate on that resolution. I look forward to it. Whether you're for or against, it'll be fun and it'll be a great debate. And we're all going to walk away smarter people for it. So that's fantastic. I've got some other pieces of legislation. Let me get them pulled up here. I've got probably... we're looking at quite a few marriage certificates. We talked about that, House District 1, during the campaign. Some of you guys are very familiar with it. Marriage certificates. That bill is I'm still working on it. It's kind of a big deal to put your arms around. And what we're doing, for those of you not in the know, is we're getting rid of marriage licenses, keeping marriage certificates in place, and that's all Wyoming's going to be involved with. So you no longer have to ask permission from your state to get married. We're still keeping our marriage laws in place. You can't marry your cousin or something like that. No polygamy. But we're just recognizing the fact that marriage licenses serve no purpose anymore besides they're just a piece of paper. So we're looking at that. Hopefully we'll get that done soon. Mobile home title status upon permanent foundation. Doesn't that sound like the funnest piece of legislation you've ever heard of? And actually I'm in my 4th draft of that piece of legislation. It's hard to... mobile homes are tough. So that piece of legislation is just going to fix kind of a hole we've got with a couple counties are looking at statute and the exact way it is, and that's the only way you can operate under releasing a title to its land in regards to a mobile home. But some situations exist where you might be the second owner of a mobile home, and the first owner didn't release their title, so now you can't get a title for this land or for this mobile home. So what this bill does is it creates a route to release a non-existent title that you don't have, release a title to your real property so that you can actually get a loan on that property and clean that up. Our mobile home statutes need a little bit of work, and this is one of the situations that's going to make it better. So I hope. So we're gonna, and we'll talk about that. And listen, guys, all of these pieces of legislation have a long ways to go. They've got to go through committee. They got to go through 3 readings of the House, and then they got to go through committee in the Senate, the upper chamber, as they like to call themselves, but we know better. And then they've also got to go through 3 readings over there long before any of them become law. Sometimes I wonder how anything becomes law. Anyhow, that's what I got for you guys right now, but I'll be bringing more pieces of legislation to you later and talking about more later on. If you got any questions, leave it right down on the link below. I'd really like to hear from you guys. Until then, thanks, House District 1.